Good morning, everyone. Let's get started. I'm sharing the screen. I hope you're able to see my screen.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. So now let's quickly recap what we have learned in the previous class. So in the previous class, we started looking at some details about hash set, and then we started looking at what is a iterator, what is a list iterator, and then what is a concurrent modification exception, right? So can someone tell me the difference between iterator and list iterator? First of all, what is an iterator?
Through that we can retrieve the elements.
Yeah, iterator is a method in so iterable is an interface which is a parent in the collection framework, in which there is a method called iterator, and it is returning a iterator reference. Okay, and since it is abstract method in array list class, it has been overridden. And in order to call, since it is abstract and that too it's overridden and it's an instance method, we need an object to call the method, and it is used to iterate over the object and then get the data, right? So what is the difference, guys? Iterator and list iterator.
I mean, forward, backward.
Iterator.
Yeah,
We expect list forward and backward direction in list iterator, but iterator in we move in the forward direction only.
yeah, iterator, you have the only has next method and next element. That means you cannot go previously, only one direction. But in the list iterator, you have a has next method, has previous method. If the has previous method is returning true, then you have to go for a to get the element previous method. If the has next method is returning true, you can get the next element, right? So the thing is list iterator, the return type of a list iterator method is it is getting a list iterator reference. What is a list iterator? It's an interface, and it is also extending from iterator. Now, can someone tell me what is a concurrent modification exception?
When we are retrieving collection and doing some structural changes, then
Yeah.
we will get.
So if you just do the structural modification, will it get while you are retrieving, or you need to do something else?
Calling some methods.
Yeah. What are those methods?
As next.
It is not yeah, next method, previous method, etc. Correct. If I don't call that method, what happens? And then if I do structural modification,
we won't get any exception.
It will go to the out of memory, right?
Out of memory. Yes.
So that means the loop gets repeated continuously because there is no stop. If you write a, like if I equal to 100 greater than 100 and break the statement, right? So if you write some break statement, it will come out of the loop. If not, the code will go into the infinite loop. But in order to get what is the internal logic of a concurrent modification exception? How does the Java know that you are doing structural modification?
With the help of mod cons.
Yeah. So what is that logic? Can anyone? Can anyone tell me what is that mod count exactly? See, mod count is a variable, correct? So whenever you add an element to array list, or whenever you delete an element from array list or anything, correct? The mod count variable is there in the hash map array list also, we have seen. It is there in the hash map, means it is applicable for hash set also. Now inside this add method, whenever you do anything, mod count variable is getting incremented. So whenever we add the data to a array list, there is internally they use a variable called mod count. It gets incremented. Now, whenever you call after you adding the data, whenever you call the iterator, whatever the mod count they have, that they are assigning it to one variable called expected mod count. And while doing the iteration, and if you're performing a add or remove, structural modification means adding a data or deleting a data. If you perform add or remove, then what happens? Automatically the add method gets called and the mod count gets modified. Now, if I execute this code, will I get any exception? Concurrent modification exception? Look at it. Will I get
No.
concurrent?
No.
No. What I will get? Some index out of bound exception, something, correct? Because I am passing remove followed by 30. Do I have a 30 index? No, correct? Yeah. So for example, if I say add, so what exception I will get?
No exception.
So can I say it continuously loops it, correct? See, first, whenever there is element 10, it adds the data. 20, it adds the data. That means, can I say this while loop will never end, correct? Because whenever you're adding the data, you're adding it to the original collection, right? So it continuously loop. It will go into a infinite loop. But if I enable this code, so can I say whenever you first time hash next, what is the expected mod count 6? What is the mod count 6? So in the next method, we have seen there is one method, one implementation called check for co-modification, right? Yeah. So look at here. Okay. Let's go to the array list class. Yeah. See, mod count is not equal to expected mod count. For the first time, whenever I come to this class, what is the mod count? 6. First iteration. Mod count is 6 at this point of time, at this line. There is no check in the hash next. There is a check in the next method only. So what is the mod count? 6. What is the expected mod count? 6. Are they equal or not equal? Equal. So, but the exception will be thrown whenever these are not equal. So it will not throw the exception. Done. It will print the data. Now, whenever I add the next element, so L dot add 30. So what happened? My mod count will become 7. Done. Now the while loop repeats. Has next element will return true? Yes. And whenever it comes to line number 22, what is the mod count now? 7. What is the expected mod count? 6. Expected mod count means before you start iterating, whenever you call the iterator, whatever the mod count is there, that will be stored in a variable called expected mod count. 7 equal to 6, not equal to 6. Is it true? Yes. So then it will throw the concurrent modification exception. That means in this iteration, will it throw the exception in first iteration or second iteration? I repeat my question.
Second iteration.
Second iteration, correct? First iteration, it will not throw, right? So that is the thing you need to understand. Why it throws the exception in second iteration only? Why not in first?
Like in second, we are at in the first iteration, we are adding in that list, right? After coming into that line number 24, that time it will change the mod count.
Yeah. So for example, if I keep this one before the next method, if I do like this, then when the exception will be thrown in the first iteration or second iteration?
Yeah, in the first iteration only.
First iteration only, correct? That means your logic depends on mod count only, correct? So mod count is not equal to the expected mod count, it throws the exception. Now, this is the problem of array list. This is a concurrent modification exception, right? Now, in order to resolve this, what should I do? So there is a class called copy on write array list. Copy on write array list. There is a class called copy on write array list. Okay. So copy on write array list is also a class. Okay, let me show you guys. It's also a class. Is it implementing a list interface? Yes. Whenever it is implementing a list interface, what does the properties it will follow, guys? Copy and write array list. What does it follow? Does the list allow duplicates?
Yes.
Does the list is ordered?
Yes.
So that means whatever the list is doing, can I say copy on write array list is another class similar to the array list only, right? So it will follow all the properties. Now, let me do the same thing. Now, instead of array list, I'm using a copy on write array list. Okay. Now I have added the data. I'm doing the iteration. Now, while doing the iteration, if I am doing structural modification, I used to get a concurrent modification exception, right? Now, can I say that I am doing a structural modification now? Now let us see whether I will get a concurrent modification exception or not. See, it does not have, see, whenever you are calling iterator, does it have any mod count? Expected mod count, some variable? No.
No, we don't.
What it is doing? It is taking, see, what is your original object is containing how many elements? 6 elements, correct? In the array list, how many data elements are there? 6. The size of the array list is 0 to 5, like 6 elements. Okay. Now, what this copy and write array list will do, whenever you call an iterator, inside this iterator, whatever, see, before calling the iterator, whatever the data is there, it will create a snapshot. Snapshot means like this employee E equal to new employee E1 equal to E. That means it will create a new object separate. That means it will follow the deep copy, not the shallow copy. Okay. So at a later point of time, I will explain what is a deep copy and what is a shallow copy. It's a complete core Java topic. I'll take a free workshop and I'll explain. It takes an hour to explain that. Okay. So it, see, look at here, snapshot. It is containing 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. That means whenever you are iterating over this object, not the original object. Now let us look at here. As next, see, I am doing a next. I am printing the next. I am adding the data. So whenever I am adding the data, let's add the data. Now, let's look at my original collection, L. Can you say to original collection 400 is added? Yes or no?
Yes.
Now let's look at the iterator. Iterator is using one snapshot object. Is the 400 added here?
No.
That means, can I say these two are referring to a different location? This, see, this iterator object is also having an array, correct? And this is also an array. I mean, like a little collection object. Both are same, referring to the same location or different location?
Different.
Different. If it is the same, 400 should have come here also. There is no difference between array list and copy and write array list. That means whenever you are iterating in the copy and write array list, what is happening? Whenever you're doing structural modification, where it is happening? Structural modification. Can I say original collection? Correct. So you are adding the data to L.add. What is an L? L is a collection that you started first. That means whenever you do structural modification, the changes will happen in the original collection. But will the changes reflect the iterator? No. So that means it is using two different objects. For iterating one object, for adding the data one object. So hence, there is no concurrent modification exception in copy on write array list. So this iterator in the copy and write array list, the iterator will follow the iterator design pattern. What is the iterator design pattern is telling you? Whenever you're iterating over a collection, for iterating, you have to use a one array, I mean like one object, and for adding the data or doing the structural modification, you have to use the another object. So if you, so the structural modification should not impact the original collection. So that is the iterator design pattern. So in the copy and write array list, internally they follow the iterator design pattern. So now let's continue second round. Am I getting any concurrent modification exception? Look at here. How many times this iterator will repeat? Can I say only 6 times, correct? Will it go out of memory? No, it will execute till 6 times. Whenever it is executing 6 times, 400 each data will be added to the original array. Look at here. 1, 2, 3, 4. It will repeat for another 2 times. Look at here. And it will add the data again. It will add the data and it will come out. So am I getting a concurrent modification exception?
No.
No. Hope you understand, guys. So in order to resolve the concurrent modification exception, what do? You go for a collection called copy on write array list. So when do you go for this? There is another use case to use this copy on write array list. That is nothing but a concurrency. Concurrency. So what is that concurrency means? Let me take an example and then explain. I'll be sharing this daily notes today, guys. Okay. So now, so can someone tell me I am writing an array list? if T1 thread is working on an array list, see array list L equal to new array list. I'm creating an object. Okay. Now T1 thread is working on L object, T2 thread is working on L object. Can they execute parallelly? Can they work parallelly on a
Yes.
list?
Yes.
Because
Not
array
sync-
list is not synchronized. Okay. But if they are, what is the problem? If they are working, it will be, see, when two threads are working parallelly, can I say, is it fast?
Yes.
Yeah.
Performance will be improved.
Fast. But can I say, do you get a reliable output or non-reliable output?
We may not get.
Yeah. Output may or may not correct. So in the real life, do you see fastness is important, but at the same time, do you think that output also should be correct, right? Even though if there is a process which is running slowly, but I can say that 100% it gives me the output. So which one you will go? You will go for a output fast or faster one, which gives the, I mean, you will go for a correct output or a wrong output.
Correct out.
Correct output. It may take time also. Now this is about array list. Now if I use the vector, now in the vector, one thread is accessing vector v object. T2 thread is also accessing the same object. Now T1 thread is working on add method of 0, 10. That means at 0th index, it is adding the data. Now T2 thread is acting on the same vector and it is adding the data at 1, 10, 20. That means T1 thread is adding the data at 0th index, T2 thread is adding the data at 1 index, correct? Now, can they execute parallelly? Can they execute parallelly?
No.
Because when T1 thread is executing on this vector, can I say it will acquire the lock, correct? On the entire vector object, it will acquire the lock, correct? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. When T2 has acquired the lock, when T1 has acquired the lock on V object, can T2 execute?
No.
No. T2 has to wait, correct? So that means, see, can I say you are trying to here what you are doing here? Can I say index is different, correct? Here you are trying to insert at 0th index. Here you are trying to insert at first index. Can I say index is different? Yes.
Yes.
So that means even though index is different, but what is happening? T2 thread cannot able to execute because it is acquiring the lock at entire object level. But in the concurrent copy on write array list, the lock will acquire at segment level. Okay. See here at this one T1, for example, T1 thread is actually working on same object. Like copy on write array list object CP. T2 thread is also working on CP, but T2 thread is working at 3rd index and this is working at 1 index. When I say working means, see, it is adding the data at 0th index and it is adding the data at 3rd index, 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now these two can execute parallelly because, see, look at here. Can I say two threads are working on a different index? Yes. So so here in the copy and write array list, what will happen is it will acquire the lock at segment level. Here, see, it will not acquire the lock at entire copy on write array list. It will not acquire the lock on entire object. It will acquire the lock on segment level. So that means, or index level. So that means multiple threads can execute. For example, if when T1 thread is executing on T0th object, if T3 thread is coming, it is also wanted to execute on the same index, then it will acquire the lock. But if the index is different, then it will work. That means the difference between here synchronization versus concurrency is nothing but in synchronization, the lock will acquire on an entire object, but in the concurrency, the lock will acquire on a segment level or index level. So that's the beauty. So in multi-threading, you have to go for a vector or synchronized collection, or the other better one will be copy and write array list or copy and write array set or concurrent hash map. Now here we have seen the concurrent modification exception in a array list, right? So will I get a concurrent modification exception in a hash set?
Yes.
Yeah. Now let's see. Now set add L dot iterator. So so now let us see in the set also we'll get see the work for you guys is, so just write a program and add the data to a set and then call the iterator method on a set. I have almost written. Okay, just run this program and see whether you are getting a concurrent modification exception or not. Okay, now so whenever you are getting a concurrent modification exception, how can I resolve in the set? Now in order to resolve the concurrent modification exception in a set, we'll go for a class called copy on write array set. If it is a list, copy on write array list. If it is a set, copy on write array set. Now let's run the program and see whether do we get a concurrent modification exception or not. Now here, what I will do here, see, if I add that same value, what happens guys? Will it add? It will say that duplicates, correct? Set does not allow duplicates, right? Now what I will do, int I equal to 100. Now I will say I plus plus, correct? In this way, it will the value will be dynamically incremented, right? Now let us run this program and see, will I get a concurrent modification exception? See, I am using a copy on write array set. See, whenever you are calling iterator, does it have a expected mod count? Okay, I think something. Yeah, debug as Java application. Yes. Yeah, you can see it has 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. Okay, I1 equal to 100. Now has next it is printing. I1 plus plus means first it will add 100 and then it will do the I value will become 101, right? Now you can see original collection. What is the original collection? It has added 100. But is it changing anything in the collection? No. Let's execute. Am I getting a second time concurrent modification exception? No.
No.
Yeah. So in order to resolve the concurrent modification exception in a set, we'll go for a copy on write array set. Okay. Now let us change it to hash set and see, you'll get a concurrent modification exception. I mean, this is the work for you, but just try. Do you see expected mod count? Yes. See, internally it is using hash map only, correct? See, expected mod count is there. I'm doing next time. See, throw concurrent modification exception. Mod count is 7. Expected mod count is 6, correct? Why the expected mod count is changed? Because I have added the data. So mod count is 6 and whenever you add it, it will become 7. And it is throwing the concurrent modification exception. Correct? So that means will I get a concurrent modification exception in set also? Yes, correct. Now in order to solve it, what should I do? I have to go for
Copy and write array.
Yeah. So in array list, so I'm writing here. In future, whenever you look at the code, you can understand easily. Instead of writing in the notes, I am writing here, guys. In array list, to resolve the concurrent modification exception, we go for copy on write array list. Let's copy this. In hash set, to resolve concurrent modification exception, we'll go for copy on write array set. Let's copy this again. And in hash map, to resolve concurrent modification exception, we'll go for concurrent hash map. There is a class called. Okay. Now See, if I have to write the same iterator code in the hash map, how can I do? Instead of modifying it, let's write here again. Can I say hash map integer string? This is the homework for you guys. New hash map. I'll tell you, but you just need to practice. Okay. Now I'm adding the data map dot put 10 a. $20, $30, $40, $50, $60. Okay, done. Now, how can I do the iteration, guys? So see, whenever you are doing a iterator in an array list or a set, you have only one value, correct? In array list or in the hash set, using a add method, how many things you are passing?
Only one.
Only one. But in a hash map, how many things you are passing?
Key and value.
So that means, see, you are iterating. That means, can I say I can iterate through the key? I want to iterate through the key. I want to iterate through the value also, correct? There are two things, right? So then whenever there are two things, you can interviewer or in project, you make it a requirement. I want to iterate over the keys or I want to iterate over the values. Will that be possible?
Yes.
Yes. So in order to do that in the hash map, look at here. Do you have a iterator? Do you have
No.
iterator method? No.
No.
Now, how can I call the iterator method? So look at here. But do you have a iterator method in the set?
Yes.
Now, that means in order to call it, what I should do, I have to convert this map into a set. How can I convert? By calling the entry set method. See, what this will do, entry set method will do is, it will return the map in terms of a set. On top of this, I can call the iterator method, split iterator. Okay. But just try. So I'll explain this if you do not get it, but I want you to search something and then try. This is little difficult or little different from the array list iterator or hash set iterator. My question is, write a program to iterate over the hash map. Write a program to iterate over the hash map. I will explain this, but I just want you guys to try at least. Correct? Will you do?
Sure. Sure.
What about others, guys? Please respond. Just try it, guys. So at least you will get some doubts or some like you'll think of something, correct? You will get some doubts. You will ask me, then we can learn. That is how we can learn, right? So these are homework for you guys. I'll put it in the WhatsApp also. Okay. So now the next topic, generics. Collection. Okay. So whenever you are creating an array list here, now if I am creating an array list, say I'm putting this greater than symbol and then less than symbol, I'm writing integer something, correct? Now the question is why we use this? Why does this, why should I mention this? Because what is the meaning of a collection? Collection is something which can use to group the objects together. It can be an integer object, it can be a anything, correct? See, if I am mentioning, let's remove this generics. Initial, whenever in the Java 1.2 version or whenever the Java is introduced, this is how they created a collection. There is no greater than symbol, less than symbol. See, this greater than symbol, less than symbol are called as generics. So in the initial version of Java, there is no generics. Now, in the initial version of Java, what is a collection? Collection framework is used to group the objects together. Okay. Now here in the L.add, can I add 10? Yes. L.add 10.234. Okay. L.add Karthik. Okay. L dot add new employee. Okay. Now, can someone tell me what are the different objects I am adding here? What is this object here?
Integer.
If I'm integer. So when though I'm passing the primitive value, internally what is happening? See, is it a primitive value or wrapper object I passed?
Primitive.
Primitive. So, but what does the add method will do? What does the add method is taking? Does it take the primitive or object?
Object.
So, how this primitive will be converted into a object? There is one
Internet.
concept in Java. Yes, go ahead.
Typecasting.
No,
Boxing.
auto boxing. Yes, auto boxing is the one. So, what is an auto boxing?
Converting primitive data types to wrapper classes.
Yeah, converting the primitive into corresponding wrapper object. Okay. Now here, what is the data type I am passing? What is the primitive value I am passing?
Int.
Small int, correct? Yes. Now, what is the corresponding wrapper class for the small int?
Integer.
Integer. But how can you prove this? Why not long? Why only integer? Because is it starting with same letters? Is that so? Or do you have any answer? I repeat my question. So this is, I am passing a primitive int, correct? Now you're telling that for primitive int, corresponding wrapper class is capital integer. But why? Why only capital integer? Why not something else? Correct? There should be something to prove, right? Am I right? Have you got a question like this? Why not long class? Why only integer? Anyone?
These are Java predefined. I guess.
Yep, yes, predefined. But see, in order to link, see, that means for small int, capital integer is a wrapper class. So in order to provide this link, they should have done something, right? Then only you can say that for primitive int, capital integer is a wrapper class, correct?
Correct. Correct. Yes.
But what is that link? How can I say that for capital integer is a wrapper class of small int? Okay, let me show you guys. So let's go to this integer class, correct? So integer is a class, predefined class. Let's go here. Now, can I say I have a constructor?
Yes.
Yeah, this is a constructor. Now here in this constructor, for example, if I'm this class does not have a predefined, default constructor, correct? Either you can pass a int value or you can pass a string value. Okay. Now I'm just looking at an integer following by I'm passing a int value. Now what they are doing internally, this dot value equal to value. This value is nothing but integer. Then what this value variable? Will it be a long? Will it be a string? Will it be an int?
Int.
So that means in the constructor, what are you doing?
Initialize.
You are initializing the int value, correct? Internally, you are using a primitive, correct? In the capital integer wrapper class, internally in the constructor, what primitive data type you are using? Small int. That means, can I say I have provided the link? Now,
Yes.
similarly, let's go for long. Now, long is a class. Now, in the long class constructor, see here, in the constructor, this dot value equal to value. What is this value variable? Let's click on here. Can I say it is a long variable? Correct?
Yes.
That
Yes.
means, can I say that capital long is a wrapper class? Internally, it is using a small long. That means there is a link, correct? Now, similarly, if I take double, yeah. Now, double is also a wrapper class. Internally, it is using small double. Look at here. That means, can I say there is a link? Right? This is a link. Okay. Now, for small int, capital integer is a wrapper class. Now, see, whenever you're passing a primitive value, but this add method is taking, what does the add method is accepting? If you look at the array list implementation, object, correct?
Yes.
But you are passing primitive. Ideally, you should get a compilation error. Am I right?
Yes.
But why am I not getting a compilation error?
Internally boxing
Yeah.
will happen.
So that means Java is doing the auto boxing. What is an auto boxing in Java? Converting the primitive value into a corresponding wrapper object. The primitive value is 10. corresponding wrapper object is capital integer. Now, how can I convert, guys? Primitive, like small int into capital integer. How can I convert? What is the methods I can use?
Value of.
Is at dot value of.
So there is one thing called integer dot value of. Look at here. If you look at this integer dot value of method, in which class this is present? In integer wrapper class. And what this method is returning? Capital integer. What this method is taking? Small int. See, what do you want here? In this example, converting auto boxing means your input is primitive and your output should be wrapper object. Now let's go to this method. If you look at this method, what is the input? Primitive. What is the output? Wrapper object. That means this method is sufficing your requirement, correct? Now that means internally it will do something like integer dot value of. Now in line number 15, what happens? What is this data type?
Double.
Or float, correct? Anything. Now can I say again it will also be auto boxing?
Yes.
Correct? So that means it will be doing double dot value of. Okay. Now similarly here what happens? String is also already a class, correct?
Yes.
Now and employee. Now here what am I doing, guys? I am creating an array list object, and what data types I am adding? Can I say I am adding the different data types?
Yes.
Yes. Now assume that this is a project we are working. Okay. Now let us take some examples. So Akash, Ganesh, Ifra, Kishore, and myself. We five are working in a same organization. Assume that same project we five are working. We are the teammates. Okay. Now this is the code written by me. Okay. Now apart from this, I also write L dot get of 1. At one position, what object you have, guys? Index
Integer.
1. At index 1.
Double.
Double. So now I have to do the typecast, correct? I'm getting compilation error. Let's do the double. Okay. Now let me run the program and see if I get any error. Let me do sysout also. Sysout D. Let's run the program. Java application. See, am I getting the output?
Yes.
Yes. Now let's now here, since I told that we five are in the same project. Now what Ganesh is doing, he's adding. So he does not know what I'm doing. Like he's just coming and adding one more data here. L dot add. He's adding a data like this, correct? So what is this data type? He's adding a character.
Yeah.
Okay. Now when he adds the data, so now he is not aware that I'm using this get one, but Ganesh has added a code like this. Now what happens, guys? Whenever I debug it, what happens? At one position, what is the data I have?
Now character.
Character.
Now correct.
So, but what am I doing here?
Double typecast.
I'm doing that character. I'm typecasting it to double. Will it happen?
No.
No.
Can I say I will get a class cast exception?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Now, so but when do you get the class cast exception at runtime or at compile time?
Run.
Yeah,
Runtime.
compile time means you should have got the red color error message now itself, correct? But do you see any compilation error? No.
No.
Okay. Now, if I run the program, see class cast exception is gone, correct? See java.lang.character cannot be cast to the java.lang.double, correct? You understand the problem now? See, if see, that means, can I stop the Ganesh to write the code? No, because see, I'll be on some leave. On the day, if he's writing the code, and here you might be thinking that, sir, when Ganesh is writing the code, he has to change this one. Yes. If it is in the same file, he will change. For example, if I'm writing this code in the different file, does the Ganesh aware? No. So that means what is happening here? If you are using a collection, some other person can modify it. Whenever they are modifying it, can I say you will get a class cast exception, which is a runtime exception, correct? Now, in order to solve this, what is the solution? So this is called type. Can I say this is a type casting issue, correct? Here you are getting a class cast, that means typecast issue. Okay. Now, at the same time, in order to provide the solution, first of all, you do not want Ganesh to add the data, correct? If you do not allow Ganesh to add the character object, can I say the problem is resolved?
Yes.
So
should
that is called as a type safety. Type safety. Okay. Now in the initial, whenever the Java is introduced, they do not have the generics. So this is a problem. So whenever you are using like this, in middle someone adding that, then you are getting a typecast issue and type safety issue. Type safety in the sense, see, you look at here, you are adding integer, you are adding character, you are adding double, you are adding string, you are adding employee. So that means you are adding a different objects. So there is no type safety, and you are also getting a typecasting issues. So in order to solve this issue, specifically, this is called type safety and typecast issue in the predefined Java, in the initial Java version. So they have come up with a concept called as generics. They have come up with a concept called as a generics. Now, let us do the same thing. List. So in order to provide the generics, I will use a greater symbol, less than symbol. Integer L1 equal to new array list. Now let me add the data. Okay. Now, for example, this is a say same thing. I want to use only integers. Okay. Now, if I am using the line number 26, like generic, now can a Ganesh add any data other than integer? Let's look at here. If Ganesh is trying to add character C, is it allowing?
No, it won't allow.
I mean, like what exception you are getting? You are getting a compile time exception, which is good. Compile time exception or runtime exception?
Compile time is good.
Because the developer can solve it. If it is a runtime error, then you will be losing the money, right? Whenever you run the program, like whenever the person is accessing your website, if you are getting an exception, that means he cannot rely on your website, right? He will say that generally, if you go for a government website, they'll say every time server is slow, correct? So that's the reason we'll go stop to the all these government websites, right? So now, by providing the generics, what is happening? It is telling the developer that, hey, developer, you can add only integer values. You cannot add anything else, correct? See, for example, if some other person, like let us take Akash. Akash is trying to come and add a double. Is it allowed?
No.
Is it allowing? No, it is throwing the compilation error. That means whether it's a Ganesh or Akash or Ifra or Kishore, anyone, what data can they add? They can add only integer, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, whenever you're adding, that means, can I say that by looking at this generics, what you mean by that? This is a collection object which accepts only integer value. Now, whenever I am getting the value, do I need to do the typecasting?
No.
Because automatically your compiler is good enough to know that this person is storing all the integer values. Why should I do the typecasting, correct? See, see here, if I, for example, if I remove this one, see, am I getting a compilation error? It is asking you to cast it. But here, did I use any casting?
No.
No. So that means, can I say typecasting issue is resolved? Type safety is also resolved, right?
Yes.
So that's the introduction of a generics. So this generics has been introduced in Java. I do not remember the version exactly, maybe 1.2 or 1.3. The generics will resolve the typecasting issues and type safety issues. So that is the reason whenever you are using in nowadays, you have to put greater than symbol, less than symbol, and you have to write. Yeah. So any questions on this, anyone?
No.
Okay. Now another thing, why are we creating an object list L1 equal to new array list? Why not like this? Does anyone has an answer? Which is good? Why are we doing?
26
See.
times.
26 is
Good.
But why we should not do like this 27? Anyone?
In case of 26, it can hold linked list also. List type child classes it can hold, but in case of array list, it can hold only array list.
Yeah. So, okay, I'll explain this concept. Yeah, that is your answer is right, and there is some more answer to for that. It's a inheritance concept. Okay. Now, can I say this is in this example? What is a parent, guys? In this collection framework, which is a parent in this line? List is a parent, correct? So now, for example, I have let's do I just do this, guys. Create a class called A, and B extends A. Okay. Now, how many types of objects I can create? Can I create an object like B equal to new B? When I do like this, what I'm doing? Can I say I'm creating a child object? Correct. See, A is a class. I repeat, A is a class, and there is a class called B. B extends A. Now, in the B class main method, what I'm doing, B equal to new B. Can I create an object like this?
Yes.
So if I'm creating an object like this, can I call that it's a B class object?
Yes.
Yeah. Whenever you are, so in A class, you have a method called M1. In B class, you have a method called M2. Okay. Now using a B class, can I call B dot M1? B class, B object, can I call B dot M1 and B dot M2? Can I do?
Yes.
Yeah. Now, if I do, now that is fine. Now I am doing another way of object A equal to new A. Okay. Now you see in the B2 main, let's write a main method in B2, in B class, and write below code. I'm not writing the code. I want you to write the code. Okay. I will explain anyways tomorrow, but just try this. Now, A equal to new A. What does it mean? Which object I'm creating?
A class.
That is A class. But what is the A in this scenario?
Parent.
Parent class. Okay. Now, can I say A dot M1? Is it possible?
Yes.
Now, if I say A dot M2, is it possible?
No.
Why? Because it's a class, completely A class, correct? Yes or no?
Yes.
M2 is mentioned in the B class. You can actually, whenever you're creating a parent class object, you can access all the parent class methods only. Okay. Now, let us do here. M1 is also overridden. M1 is overridden. Okay. Now, whenever I say B dot M1 here, which method you will get output from which method? Which class method?
B class.
B class. Correct? Because you have overridden. Now, A class, A dot M1, which class method output you will get?
A class.
A class. Okay. Now let me do another thing. A equal to new B. What am I doing here?
Creating
What?
object for B class.
I'm referring it to
A class.
That means, can I say that I am creating an object for child, but referring it to a parent?
Parent.
Okay. Now, sir, instead of A, let me keep it as A1. Okay. Now, A1 dot M1. What is the output? Can someone tell me?
Overridden method.
Overridden method in B class, correct? Yes. Now, can I call A1 dot M2?
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Okay. Let me write. Now, let us take, see, A1 dot, see, first of all, A1, now, let's take, there is a method called M3 here. Okay. Now, let's take A1 dot M3. Can I call?
Yes.
A1 dot M2. Okay. Just find the answers for this. So, will you be able to write this program, guys?
Yes.
Is it understood, like whatever I have written? Is it a good way, or do you need more? Enough, I mean, information.
Yeah.
Guys, I request others to please speak. Rashid, Raj, Sachin, Pranit, Shiva. Okay, so just A is a class. In the A class, create one method called M1 and M3, like instance methods only. Let me write instance methods. Okay. Now B extends A, create M2. This is a new method and M1 is overridden. Now main method in the B class, write a main method and write the below code and see what has happening. Okay. Now then we'll convert the same thing into the list one, list and array list in the tomorrow class. Whoever said that if it is a list, then we can pass a array list, linked list, vector, anything. That is right answer. Apart from that, we can also do, there is concept of this one. Look at here. Whenever I'm doing an object like this, what I'm doing, I'm creating a child class object and referring it to a parent. Here, look at here. For array list, what is a parent? List only. Now, can I say I'm creating a child class object and referring it to a parent, correct? So can I say this is similar to A1 equal to new B in the below example?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
So that means if I understand the below example, can I say I will understand this one also?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the beauty. So I will, so just the work for you guys is the hash map, how to iterate over the hash map, and then this one. Just do it and then come back to tomorrow class and then I will explain. Even if you are not able to do it, not a problem, just try it. My intention you to is open Eclipse and write a class and then write the code. That is how you can improve your coding skills. Okay. Just spend 20 minutes, not more than that. You can keep a clock, just spare 20 minutes. Okay. So any questions on the today's class, anyone? And I see some of you guys have joined later in this course. Do we have anyone who joined late in this course? I mean, I think you are going to the videos. If you have any questions, you can ask me. If you feel that you want me to explain those topics, I can put a separate class over the weekend. I can explain. Okay, but let me know. Okay, this is for the people who joined late to this course. Okay, so guys, from today at 8:30, there is a class that is getting started on a multi-threading, and I have kept the poster in the chat also, like this one. If you are interested, you can join, guys. 8:30 from today. Okay, you will get to know the details and what we are going to discuss, etc. So if no question, that's all for today, guys. Okay. So thank you all. Thanks for joining. Have a nice day.
Thank you.